budget as we move forward.
Thank you, Representative Carney. Thank you all for being here this morning. I want to kind of boil this down for you. I sit on the Ag Subcommittee of Finance, and in the last General Assembly, we are the ones that heard all the discussions about the creation of JobsOhio. DSA's in there, we've got the Department of Commerce in there, JobsOhio was discussed in there in the last GA, so wouldn't it seem to you that if we've got DSA coming back in this year, and we've got the Department of Commerce coming back in this year, that JobsOhio would appear before this subcommittee to talk about what they're doing, to talk about their budget, to talk about where the public and private dollars are coming in, how they're coming in, and how they're going out, and yet we can't get them to come in. And I've asked repeatedly, I asked last week on Thursday for JobsOhio to simply come in and engage with the legislature. We are the elected representatives of the constituents. We are the subcommittee that would hear this testimony, and so I asked that the chair of the committee have them come in. He made the request, it was denied. I asked again on Tuesday of this week that JobsOhio come in simply to interact maybe with DSA. Wouldn't it be nice to have the both of them in talking about the loans and economic development activity that's going on in Ohio? Again, the request was denied. I've sent a letter to the Speaker asking for the same, and they have gotten no response. So I do not remain optimistic, and we're completing our work as of today in the subcommittee. So, and to give you some idea of what we're talking about here, we had Commerce come in and talk about the budget, as is entirely appropriate, and I had plenty of questions for the Department of Commerce, but there's a line item here. There are a bunch of line items that are zeroed out in the Department of Commerce budget, as you might imagine. $525 million for the merchandising. That's the liquor operations money, right? So it's lined out in the budget of Commerce. We see that. And oftentimes when a budget item moves like this, you can see it dump out into somebody else's line item. It may be in a different department's budget. This doesn't dump out anywhere. We can't see it. We don't have the budget for JobsOhio. So $525 million that was allocated in 2013 dumps out somewhere in 14 and 15, but we have no record of it, and we can't get to it. And we can't get any understanding. And there are a number of other lines that are zeroed out here in the Commerce budget, and yet there's no accounting for where that money goes. That's what we're getting at. Let us know. It's public-private. Some of that's public money. We ought to know, of course we should know, where the money's going and what it's being used for. And so that's what we've been asking for. Also, and that's the Commerce side, the DSA department came in and we asked them about these loans, the economic development incentives that are provided to companies to either stay in Ohio or expand in Ohio. And they said there is very close interaction with JobsOhio. They are doing the maintenance on these loans, collecting the money that's owed, but JobsOhio closes the deal. What are they talking about? What is closing the deal, and whose money is being used to close the deal? That's what we were told. And so again, it would be great to have JobsOhio coming in to talk to us about what exactly that means and whose money is being used to do that. I've got a report here from Governor Kasich. It's from his communication department. It's from January 11. Let me read you just two quotes from this. JobsOhio will start with $1 million in appropriation from the state and will be able to receive additional public and private funds, including state budget appropriations for the Department of Development functions that would be contracted to JobsOhio. A focus on accountability and transparency, which will be an integral part of JobsOhio, from financial records and audits to the names and the compensation of all its employees. This is from the governor's report in 2011. So, we had the treasurer come to our committee and talk about his Treasurer's Transparency Project. I don't know if you're familiar with that project, but we were told that it is for the public so that they can understand how public employees are being compensated. So the question becomes, well, are the employees from JobsOhio listed out on the Transparency Project website? The treasurer didn't know the answer to that question, and so we took it upon ourselves to get onto the website and take a look, and they are not listed. So this idea that there's transparency with JobsOhio by way of compensation of their employees, which is the governor's statement, has not translated into the Transparency Project that the treasurer has initiated. DAS also has a website that outlines, the wages for state employees, and it's not listed there. So we've got two sources and yet it's nowhere to be found. One other issue I want to bring to your attention, because there are practical implications with this transfer, beyond the fact that we have no idea where this money is gone, what it's being used for, is it public-private, how many million went over beyond the 1 million that was allocated to begin with. There are practical implications to this, and we have been made aware of it, again, in the subcommittee. So the Clean Ohio Fund is bonded against liquor profits. The Clean Ohio Fund has $52 million that has been allocated right now, and we have to take some legislative action to free that up for the use for its function. But the brownfield piece of Clean Ohio, remember the brownfield is the cleanup in urban areas to make those economic development centers for our communities, those are bonded against liquor profits. So if the liquor profits are no longer available for that bonding, what happens to the Clean Ohio funds? What are we bonding against? How many other pots of money are bonded against liquor profits that we don't know about? We heard about one, and we've had about a dozen people come into this committee and testify as to how important the entire Clean Ohio program is, and yet that funding's in jeopardy because we removed the bonding source. So there are practical questions here that we can't, and so the question becomes, JobsOhio, what happens? How are we dealing with this? Well, we can't get JobsOhio in to explain any of this stuff. And that's the frustration, especially on my end, sitting in this committee hearing, asking over and over again, could they just please come in and explain to us how all this is going to work? And we've just been denied over and over again, and it's very frustrating. And so we anticipate asking the Chair of Finance, when we come back in as a full Finance Committee, to call for a vote of the committee and subpoena JobsOhio to come in and have them come in and interact with DSA, the Department of Commerce, the Governor's Office, to explain to us there are all these interactions. We've been told that the linkages are like this. We need to, if it's a subpoena, it's a subpoena. They won't come in on their own volition. So we subpoena those guys and say, we need to come in. These are public dollars. This is a public-private partnership, and we want you to come in and testify. To full Finance, Representative Carney, I agree on this point, and we will be asking Chairman Olmsted to do just that.